Learn English essential words and translate to Arabic. This lesson, Doctor Office. Doctor. Doctor. The doctor checks my heartbeat. The doctor checks my heartbeat. She visits the doctor for a checkup. She visits the doctor for a checkup. He asks the doctor about his symptoms. He asks the doctor about his symptoms. Patient. Patient. The patient waits in the waiting room. The patient waits in the waiting room. She talks to the patient about his health. She talks to the patient about his health. He comforts the patient before the procedure. He comforts the patient before the procedure. Nurse. Nurse. The nurse takes the patient's temperature. The nurse takes the patient's temperature. He thanks the nurse for her help. He thanks the nurse for her help. Appointment. Appointment. We schedule an appointment with the doctor. We schedule an appointment with the doctor. She confirms the appointment over the phone. She confirms the appointment over the phone. He arrives early for his appointment. He arrives early for his appointment. Prescription. Prescription. The doctor writes a prescription for medicine. The doctor writes a prescription for medicine. She fills the prescription at the pharmacy. She fills the prescription at the pharmacy. He follows the doctor's prescription carefully. He follows the doctor's prescription carefully. Examination. Examination. The doctor performs a physical examination. The doctor performs a physical examination. She undergoes a thorough examination. She undergoes a thorough examination. He waits nervously for his examination results. He waits nervously for his examination results. Receptionist. Receptionist. The receptionist schedules appointments for patients. The receptionist schedules appointments for patients. He answers phone calls as the receptionist. He answers phone calls as the receptionist. Waiting room. Waiting room. The patients sit in the waiting room. The patients sit in the waiting room. She reads a magazine in the waiting room. She reads a magazine in the waiting room. He checks the time in the waiting room. He checks the time in the waiting room. Stethoscope. Stethoscope. The doctor listens to my heart with a stethoscope. The doctor listens to my heart with a stethoscope. She uses a stethoscope to check my breathing. She uses a stethoscope to check my breathing. He puts on a stethoscope before examining a patient. He puts on a stethoscope before examining a patient. Diagnosis. Diagnosis. The doctor makes a diagnosis based on the symptoms. The doctor makes a diagnosis based on the symptoms. She explains the diagnosis to the patient. She explains the diagnosis to the patient. He seeks a second opinion after the initial diagnosis. He seeks a second opinion after the initial diagnosis. Blood pressure. Blood pressure. The nurse measures the patient's blood pressure. The nurse measures the patient's blood pressure. She records the blood pressure readings in the patient's chart. She records the blood pressure readings in the patient's chart. He has high blood pressure. He has high blood pressure. Waiting area. Waiting area. Patients wait in the waiting area before their appointments. Patients wait in the waiting area before their appointments. She sits in the waiting area with other patients. She sits in the waiting area with other patients. He looks around the waiting area while waiting for his turn. He looks around the waiting area while waiting for his turn. Injection. Injection. The doctor administers an injection to the patient. The doctor administers an injection to the patient. She receives a flu shot injection. She receives a flu shot injection. He feels a little pain after the injection. He feels a little pain after the injection. Medical history. Medical history. The doctor reviews the patient's medical history. The doctor reviews the patient's medical history. She updates her medical history with any recent changes. She updates her medical history with any recent changes. He provides a detailed medical history to the doctor. He provides a detailed medical history to the doctor. Please subscribe the channel.